All right, in today's artist tip video, we're going to be discussing how to sample famous songs. Now, this is going to be a quick hit list because I cover this a lot. It's a call that I get at my law office so often. As you guys know, I'm a real entertainment attorney. And so let's start with the groundwork of what is sampling. So if we're going to sample famous songs, our general understanding is that we're taking a piece of it and we're putting it in our new song, right? So we might call it a remix. We're taking the instrumental, putting something new on top of it with a vocal. We're taking just a drum loop or a guitar riff. We're taking some piece of it and using that final recorded version. So that's what we mean when we say sampling. Okay, and the confusion kind of, I guess, happens a lot in the music business with artists because they're like, well, first of all, when it comes to sampling, isn't it kind of okay? Like, don't most people do it? And the answer is a lot of particularly independent artists will sample music, right? You hear DJs doing it all the time when they're kind of splicing things together. It's become really popular on TikTok, where you have the instrumental for one song, you have the hook of another popular song, and then they blend those together. I mean, that's an example of sampling. And so the question will be, well, if it's something that people are just doing, do I have to get it clear? Do I need to clear samples to use them in my music? And the answer is yes, right? So as an artist myself, I've wanted to sample, I've tried to sample, I've gone to clear, which I'll talk to you guys about in this video, right? I'm going to show you the steps of what you need to do to go and actually get these samples cleared. But you got to work out a deal, right? Because someone else owns it. If someone else made the thing, that means that person has copyright ownership in the thing, and that you're going to be in a world of hurt if, let's say, your song is a hit and your song has a sample in it that wasn't cleared, because now that other person has a claim for copyright infringement against you. And there are statutory damages. They can sue you and they will get them. Regardless of whether you made $1 or $100 million, they can still seek these statutory damages because the law basically says, if you do this thing, we can slap you with these fines, basically. To the answer of, you can get it cleared, how do you do that? A lot of you are familiar with BMI versus ASCAP, right? So these are the performance rights organizations for the United States. There are performance rights organizations for all the countries, right? Or the majority of all the countries. But the ones for the United States, the big ones, are BMI and ASCAP. And why that matters to you is just because if you need to find who owns the song so that you can reach out to them and say, hey, I want to sample it. Let's do a license. I'll pay you some money, right? Whether you're using it in your song or your video, whatever. And so what you do is you just go on both platforms and you do a little search. Okay, really easy. Go to Google and type in BMI catalog search, and usually it'll bring up the link. You click the link and then you just put in like the name of the song that you're searching for. If you don't find it on BMI, then you go to ASCAP, ASCAP. You go to ASCAP and you do the same search, or just go to Google, right? So ASCAP catalog search. And so you'll be able to find what song you're looking for on one of these platforms. And then they'll have information like the publisher, often the record label. So whoever you need to reach out to go and get that contact information of who do I need to speak with, and then just start talking shop. This is what I want to do. This is the, reach I think it's going to have. What's your licensing fee? Now, sometimes, and I've run into this as well, sometimes you don't get a response, right? And so then the question might be, well, what do I do if I don't get a response? And the answer is you don't use the sample, okay? Because if you do, you just run the risk that, your song will be successful. And now you have a big target on your back. And so I use examples like, Cardi B, right? So Cardi B or Nicki Minaj, right? When they become huge stars, it's not that overnight success, right? They usually have been doing their thing for a long time. And they probably were doing mixtapes and they probably were kind of sampling, or the producers were sampling without getting authorization. So now, later on, right, they're getting those lawsuits. So they come to haunt you. So it's definitely not something that you want to be doing, but there is a way to do it. And there's an additional kind of workaround that you can consider. So I had a client and the client was asking, what if I recreate the song from scratch? Okay, so it's the same song, the same melodies, and obviously it's just my voice, my production. Well, then I say it's not sampling anymore, right? So remember, we just defined sampling as taking something from the final recorded version. If you're not sampling, it's a cover song. And if it's a cover song, guess what? You get to obtain a mechanical license, which is cheap. It's easy. I walk you guys through how to do this. Just search Top Music Attorney cover songs on YouTube. And I have a couple full-length videos kind of going over the same substantive information of like where you go, how you do it. Easy breezy, right? So as an artist, I do a ton of cover songs. I'm sure, I think I don't think we're watching a cover song at the end of today's show, but we usually watch, one of my music videos or one of the cover songs that I've done. So the answer is it's very easy to do cover songs. But if you're trying to take something, again, directly from the song, that's a sample, and that means you have to get a sync license, right? Or a sync license or a master use license. There's a number of things that we'll call it depending on the use. So then a couple of the common questions. What if I don't earn any money from the use, right? So if I'm doing a sample, if I took it and I just have it on my mixtape and I throw it up on SoundCloud, if I'm not making any money, is that, basically okay? And the answer is no. You didn't have permission. It's still copyright infringement. Well, what if other artists are doing, the same thing, right? Am I going to get caught? And I just go back to experiential wisdom. If other people are doing it and then you start doing it and you don't get caught for a number of years, it's just a matter of time. And, you'd be so lucky that you just never blow up, right? That there's only 2 plays on your SoundCloud song, right? And those 2 plays just happen to not be the people who are going to file copyright infringement claims against you. Okay, so it's more of just act like a business, think about this stuff, really strategize and be like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I understand the potential consequences and liability, and the better bet is you're good enough to make a great song. You don't have to sample, you don't have to take from someone else's kind of hit song. And the best case scenario is just to do the license, right? I mean, on the flip side of this, on the last show, we were kind of talking about how Kanye, he went and took a sample and he's getting sued because he didn't get it cleared. So it's not just independent artists doing this. There are obviously big artists as well who just decide to kind of throw caution to the wind. They'll deal with the problem later. I don't know what the thought process is, but when it comes to sampling, sometimes it takes a lot of money. So there can be a deterrence to wanting to do it. I get it. But I hope you guys find this helpful. And so when you are, for example, reaching out, you want to get a license agreement to do those samples. If you're working with a producer, make sure you get a collaboration agreement, right? I'm always giving you guys these agreements for free. You can get them as well through my book, How to Keep Your Dukes Up in the Music Business. That's at topmusicattorney.com. And like I said, those contracts come for free with the book. So make sure you get your copy today.